I saved it for Jordan. Oh, because Jordan is I offered him the yes. I'm gonna send you I was so busy. He likes dance. Hey, Joe. You didn't send me a message. No, my number
All right, folks, call the order. Satellite program. Welcome all. We really appreciate you coming to be a part of Miami growing. We really want to see this all as we grow. We appreciate it. We're going to kick this special meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, then a roll call, then we jump right into business. So, anybody going to take the invocation for us? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord God and Father, in your presence at this evening's council meeting, we pray for your wisdom and insight. We pray, Lord, that you bless our nation, our state, our town, and surrounding areas, that we may all prosper. And we do thank you, Lord, in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rick.
Mayor Madrid,
Present.
Vice Mayor Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilmember Medina,
Present.
Councilmember Vogt, Councilmember Ryman, Councilmember Saj,
Excuses.
and Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, item 4, business. Council hearing. The town council may conduct a hearing for the limited purpose of discussion and possible action concerning potential review of Mayor Madrid from the appointment of mayor pursuant to Town Code 2.0104.01 and council procedures 3.9. That kicks off with number 1, council statement of allegations, grounds for removal. Have at it. So,
Okay. Thank you folks for attending here and proving my point. One of the main reasons I feel that we need a change is because our current mayor operates under the rules of mob rule and is encouraged by the mob to make his decisions. That's not democracy, partners. The other thing is his outburst. Right off the bat, I noticed it kind of affected you, buddy. Right off the bat, the first meeting, I didn't do it, he started over there. Anyway,
decorum, please, decorum.
thank you, Mayor. Right off the bat, he showed me that he didn't learn much at the League of Urban Citizens and Towns training. I asked around, what happened? Did you guys drop the ball? Because apparently he didn't learn very much about how a council operates. I've heard him and others say that he was a CEO. And I've worked with engineers and CEOs, and that's the way they operate. They're the boss, they call the shots. It does not work that way in a town and city. It looks like the mayors run the town, and in the past here in Bahama, they did. And when I was in grade school in Phoenix, I could see that they were doing it wrong here all this time. Well, anyway, I tried to help relay that information in years past, and because of that, I was asked to run for council. We had a contentious council back then, and I was asked to be the mayor back then, right off the bat. That's when I kind of learned that it's best to have somebody with experience to be mayor. So I had to learn quickly. But I attended a lot of classes and like, no. Okay, that's it. I tried to coach the mayor, and he barked at me as if I was trying to cause trouble. I was sitting right next to him. And in so many words, he was telling me to mind my own business, he knew what he was doing. He had trouble with the gavel. I guess he thought that gavel was a joke. It took him a while to get a hang of the gavel, and now he's doing pretty good with the gavel. But he started barking and getting upset with me, so I asked Councilman Stewart, who graciously traded seats with me, so that we would not have a contentious meeting. That's what I was adding up to every time I sat over there. One thing you need to know about me, and you guys don't know anything about me, and that is, I'm thick-skinned, nothing bothers me. And along with that, you're taking my picture, I better stay still. And along with that, I'm I've had quite a few years of experience. I've seen good consuls and bad consuls, okay? A lot of you think that one person can run this town. No way, not one person can run this town. So, those of you that are gonna fill this seat are gonna learn. I'm sure some of the members here can attest to the fact that they ran to come on board to make changes, especially the road situation. They learned firsthand that it doesn't work as easy as it looks. So anyway, the mayor cannot understand that. He's trying to run everything. The other thing is that we are being watched possibly by the world. What an embarrassment it is when somebody gets on their high horse and starts yelling at somebody here being recorded. And then, in one instance, he went into a rant about how the manager didn't respect him, never had respected him. He's gotta try now. I'm having water like I usually do. Anyway, he went into that rant. And I don't know how many times he had done that. I lost count. It was very embarrassing when Jesse Bryant, standing over there, Jesse Bryant tried to explain to the consul the reason why it was taking so long to fix the issue at the police station with the HVAC, which made perfect sense. A lot of work had to go in there, and it's not like the mayor thinks. He thinks you can just go out there and buy what you need and hire whoever you need. There's a process that apparently he doesn't understand because he didn't take that course. So anyway, Jesse was up here, and he might not have said it in so many words, but his actions showed that he had enough. He didn't want to hear any more from Jesse. It's recorded. Another meeting, Carol Broder, sitting over there, right, Carol? Carol Broder very bravely went up there before the mayor, and I kind of knew what was going to happen. The mayor had every right to get over and tell her, you know, please, no, that's enough. It didn't come out that way. The way I took it, he flat told her, maybe not in words, but in action, I said, shut up. I've heard enough. But yet, these people can go on and on and on and on. So, and it's all obvious, what we're gonna do is look at the recordings. Anyway, I submitted, your resubmitted, you'll probably read about it if they post it. The actions, I was misquoted on the paper. Dave, you misquoted it. I did not say that I am for voting the mayor in directly by the public. I have never believed in that in a small town, whether here, Superior, Prairie, Winkleman, barely works in Globe, where they have districts, council members, representing districts. In the case, that was the case here. The local groups, I won't mention which ones, but the local groups would always be represented by their mayor, whoever they voted in. And I hate to bring blood into this, but the mayor, from what I hear people write to me, is he's related to just about everybody in this whole area here. So whether related to red blood or green blood, he's related to just about everybody in here right now. So, which isn't a bad thing, but it's nothing wrong. Also, I'm glad you're speaking up. a lot of the heckling that I've been getting, out there, should have stopped immediately. Gavel. Before. He even preaches, like he mentioned a while ago, before. An individual goes up there and he starts dragging me through the coals. Okay, fine, he made his point. But it goes on and on and on. A good mayor would say, okay, point made, that's enough. One meeting, and you might have read about it in the paper, I reported that a minimum of 6 people took the podium, took their 3 minutes to drag me through the coals. And notice I didn't respond because I was kind of egging it on, because I wanted you to show the public, the real public, what's going on here. 3 minutes apiece, 6 people, 18 minutes minimum. The paper, reported a little bit more accurately that a total of 15 people spoke. And I'd say more than half of those was dragging me through the cold. The way I see it, a good mayor would have said, okay, point made. The point was made. 2, 3 people speak up, okay, fine, done. But it went on and on and on. I said I was thick-skinned. Also, I do not have an enemy in the world. You might consider you be my enemy, but you're not. I learned a whole bunch in my careers. And I learned to work with people, I understand why people do what they do. And, you know, that's the way people are. It's human nature. But I feel that a meeting like this one here, it shouldn't be that way. And again, like I said, I have no hard feelings toward the mayor. As a matter of fact, I worked with his dad. I worked with his dad at mine for several years. And to be honest with you, he was a tough foreman. He had enemies up there, but I wasn't one of them. So I'm running out of words to express that I have no hard feelings, no feelings toward the mayor or you folks. It's the way things are being run that I'm concerned about. You took me off the console, which is fine. You know, that's the way the system works. I don't have a problem with that. And a remark was made, I would have seen that you never get back on the console. That's fine too. But I have no intentions of ever getting back on the console. Because I find that as the time is going on, all my real friends from Miami have passed on. And I just have a few left. But anyway, I mean, I could go on and on, I don't want to keep boring you guys. So, that'll satisfy my portion, so I'll pass it on to you. Councilman Norton.
Thank you for your patience in listening. I'll be a little more brief. What I became concerned about was the out-of-control meetings that were being chaired by the mayor or not being chaired by the mayor, and the appearance of chaos that created for those of our partners upon whom we rely for, well, bottom line money, but other support as well. When somebody comes in new with new programs and tries to implement them without spending due diligence in finding out what is going on, there's going to be conflict. The way that conflict by law is resolved between the council is in a public meeting. So what may look like contention to people who recently have come to meetings and started repeating, is working out problems in real time. The reason for the open meeting law is to ensure that those discussions occur in the public, not in private where the mayor calls all the councilmen in and tells them how to vote. I've been told, and I have no way to verify or prove or disprove. In the old days, that's what happened with the mayors. The mayor called all the councilmen in, say, this is what we're doing. It had a meeting, and yeah, we agree, and it looked like it was just a wonderful thing. That's illegal. And you don't have to take my word for it. We have a lawyer that we spent a lot of money for and has a very good background reputation in the state of Arizona for understanding the law. My other concern was the mayor's disregard of the attorney's advice. We have the attorneys here because we've had other mayors who have disregarded the open meeting law, which caused several thousands of dollars to be spent on investigations, depositions, and findings that resulted in the fact that the mayor, in fact, was going in violation of open meeting laws. And requirement that the town be on probation for 5 years, and that we have a qualified municipal attorney that every be satisfy those requirements over the subsequent 5 years, so we're no longer under. There was a time in that era where our credibility was zero with surrounding communities and suppliers and with the various governments to deal with. That has been radically changed in the last few years. I do not want to see that go back to the way it was, and that's what I saw in meetings, particularly the meeting before last, and some of the meetings before that. The grounds in our rules for procedures, the grounds for removal of a mayor, who, by the way, is a councilman or remain a councilman should he be removed as mayor, really is still just a councilman with the additional responsibility of maintaining the meetings, maintaining order, and representing the town in terms of signing documents and in the public eye. He has no additional powers. He has no power to direct the town manager without a vote of the council to direct the town manager to do X and Y or whatever. What I've seen in the meetings is the mayor has, there's two terms I've used, misfeasance and malfeasance. Let me go with misfeasance. Misfeasance is not doing something you're supposed to do. And what you're supposed to do as mayor is maintain order in the meetings, which means when people start shouting out of the audience, out of order, argumentative with members of the council, the mayor is supposed to shut that down with the gavel and keep order, rather than listening to see whether or not that response agrees with his view and allowing it to continue if it does. That's what I saw. I don't know what you guys saw. That's what I saw. It's disturbing when I see professional people get up and leave the meeting because they do not want to become involved in a controversy over open meeting violation laws. I'm not going to name names, but I think those people who know, come to meetings know who these people are. They're not here tonight. That's disturbing from lots of aspects. We've had meetings where there have been higher-ups from the various minds in the meetings, and have gone away with a very skeptical look about the town of Miami's reputation. So that's my motivation for this, is we need a leader who will lead in a positive direction and work to create unity, not complain and make allegations about it being everybody else's fault because he's not being followed exactly as he says. The second one is malfeasance. The mayor does not have the authority to intervene or directly deal with the town employees. He's entitled to ask questions, as any councilman is, but the mayor is not entitled to tell them to do X or Y. For example, he's not entitled to tell them that they work for him, because they don't work for him, they work for the town of Miami. I don't have the specific instances because our recordings are very difficult to listen to. I have hearing aids and I couldn't get the wording on some. That sounds like a lame excuse, but it's a real one. Those of you who have been here have seen what I'm talking about. What I'm concerned about most is outside people, not outsiders like people who come up here and investors, not the carpetbaggers that seem to be concerned about. I'm talking about outside people like the Attorney General, like the county attorney, deciding that through complaints that they've received, they should come investigate. What's at risk there? Our credibility in the area with those people that, as I said earlier, we depend upon for money. Ultimately, the risk is the town gets put under an administrative control where the county runs the town. So none of us have any say. So that's the risk, and we were very close to it before. I think it's appropriate that the council act on these affidavits to show that we recognize that the mayor acted out of his authority or didn't act where he should have, and that we are willing to do something about that. And get it in the right direction again. So I could go on for a longer time with more details, but you guys probably get tired of listening to this. That's it. Sure.
I was kind of glad when Mayor Madrid became in office. But it didn't last very long. Those that know me, I'm an easygoing person. I had to put up with a lot of stuff. I raised my kids, my grandkids, and being on the council, years ago I bought a new truck and it had a real heavy duty suspension on it. And I really didn't notice how bad the roads were here in Miami. So my tail light broke off my truck, my brand new truck, going up to my home from work. And I came down here and kind of griped about it under another mayor. And came to meetings and got involved with what was going on, just like you people, speaking what you think was best. Well, come to find out, they weren't going to pay for my tail light on my truck. In fact, they kind of laughed at me, and that kind of set me off on a different path about the town council. Well, Sammy's my neighbor, and there was other people that I knew kind of talked me into being involved here on the council. So here I am, 8 years later. Roads haven't really changed that much. I bought another truck with a lot better suspension. That's about the only way I could solve my problem. And I'm all for sitting here saying that this is the total reason I'm here, to get the roads fixed in the town of Miami, plus other things that's kind of hurt me for all the years I've lived here. But I'm just going to say that everyone on this council has taken an oath to obey the law. It don't matter how big the law, murder, speeding ticket, or the laws of this council, they are broken. I've never seen the town of Miami with this much doom and gloom over it. Every meeting, when you leave the meeting, you get fingers pointed in your face saying you're worthless. And that's not true. Saying that you're breaking laws, that's not true. I'm here to say that since Mayor Madrid has been on this seat here, that this has happened at this meeting. I've seen Mr. Horta interrupt this meeting so many times that I finally started getting my camera out, taking shots of it. It didn't calm him down at all. But what broke the camel's back is when he brought the signs in here, started yelling at Mr. Medina to shut up. We don't want to hear it. That kind of got me. And the mayor never once reprimanded him. And I've seen things less than what Horta does get thrown out of this meeting. Everyone in here, when you walk through that door, there are laws that need to be obeyed. And our mayor does not reprimand anyone at all. That's about all I'm going to say.
Thank you, and good evening. First of all, let me make this perfectly clear from my point of view. This is not personal at all. I'm not going to sit here and judge this man. It's not for me to do. This man loves his town. That I have no doubt. But there are reasons and there are protocols and policies that all of us up on this dais need to follow. We need to set the example for not only for our town, but for other municipalities. So when they see the town of Miami come together to conduct its business, they have some faith and confidence in the council that you folks elected to sit up here and direct the future of this town. And it's hard sitting here watching the, at times, very flagrant disregard for open meeting laws and repercussions for actions taken when those laws aren't followed. My concern is, what type of message does that send to our neighbors? And more importantly, what type of message does that send to our students, to our vandals? Wow, you know, hey, there's an option here that we could censure, we could take no action. But complaints have been filed with the Attorney General of the state of Arizona. I don't know about you folks, but that's the type of attention that I really don't want our municipality to have. I want the good kind of attention. Hey, they're working hard. They're working together. Yeah, maybe we mix it up a little bit, but you know what? In the end, we come together and we figure it out and get it done. But I don't see that happening. I see dissension. I see absolute hate. And you can feel it. And it's sad. It's sad. I've sat in the seats that you're in right there. And I've had people, investors, ask me, tap me on the shoulder and say, Phil, what are these guys doing up here? Are they for real? And I said, yeah, this is how it's done. They said, wow, thanks for letting us know. And out the door they went. They haven't been back since. So, behind that camera, or through those doors, we never know who's going to be here. Who will judge us for our actions as a council to represent you, the will of the people, to move this town forward. That's the issue as I see it from my seat here. And that's what I'm wrestling with here. He's a good man, okay? And I'll go down, double down on anybody who says anything different. If he picks up the phone and says, I'm right there. Period, no questions asked. But sometimes you need to take action, and sometimes there's consequences for actions. And sadly, here we are. So those are some of my thoughts on that. Vice Chair?
So I'm going to start off that nobody's perfect. Any of us council members that sit here, we're going to have mistakes, we're going to do things wrong, and it's a learning experience. So I can say there is learning. Most of our council members here voted, they had to have a vote for the mayor, and four of you guys selected the mayor to do this job, besides the citizens of the town to vote as the council members. But four of our council members voted, and they believe in Mr. Madrid, or Mayor Madrid, that he can do this job. And I think a lot of times what you have to do is you have to support that mayor. Has he done different things? Absolutely. Has he done wrong things? Absolutely. But we need to still support the mayor and guide him, you know, being that he's new, and just recently just passed a code that the mayor has to have at least 2 years to have an understanding of how to conduct and have alcohol and stuff. And so, you know, my issue that I have here with the affidavits is we have about 2.5 months left. That's equivalent to maybe 5 meetings. 5 meetings, the mayor has 5 meetings left. And then he can come back for election again for the mayor. And with 2.5 months or 5 meetings, my issue that I have is with the council members, how it's costing the town of Miami money with our neighbors. For 2.5 months or 5 meetings, it's costing the town resources, it's costing the town to have a lawyer here. If you count up all the money that's probably invested in trying to get rid of the mayor, it really is costing the town of Miami money for 2.5 months. That's my problem. We talk about how we need the roads fixed. That money that we probably use, that we probably have to try to get the mayor out, we could have bought coal mix to get some of our potholes fixed or some of our roads, but now we're using that money for 2.5 months. That's my concern and my problem. Like I said, the mayor, he's learning, you know, he has issues. We talked, I personally spoke with him. We had many discussions, and after our discussions, his decorum has worked. And I told him, I would support you, Mayor, if you make these changes, and he has. And so because of these changes, I'm supporting him as the mayor of the next 2.5 months.
I'm gonna do something a little different here. I'm gonna walk over there. You guys, through my neck, get restored. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good. That's what I want. All right, before my formal statement, I say, I would like to acknowledge Miami residents who are with us tonight and have been with us in the past. Thank you, all of you, for your interest, your support, your patience, and even your complaints. This tells me you're truly concerned about Miami. Former Miami residents, there's a few of them here, who are with us tonight and have been. It is just in my heart to see all of you here at this meeting to understand really the challenges that we have. Not only speaking to some of them. You guys drive up here any weather to attend council meetings. Thank you. That is really something that all of us should be proud of. And you grew up here, and you still love Miami, of course you do. Thank you for your support. And yes, even for your advice and complaint. That's what we're here for, in my opinion. I would also like to thank council members who have experienced my first 2 years as mayor. This was a steep learning curve. Thank you to those who showed me the ropes. Thank you. And even thank you for those who worked against me. I even laughed behind my back. Those were my greatest learning lessons. Some have learned, and some I have may have missed. I apologize to any Miami resident and any council member who I may have personally offended them when I lost my temper and when I was driven to much frustration. I yelled back. That's the only time I yelled back. My apologies for not sticking to my own rules and decorum that I hope this town council would show the public. In all of my private work experiences around the globe, I do not recall a time when I became as frustrated that I was driven to yell. I have never done that. Especially yelling at people. Not until I became mayor of Miami County Council. That wasn't what I had in mind. It is something in the water, though, isn't it? Thank you profusely. Now, let me begin with my format. Members of Town Council, thank you for allowing me to respond to the allegations seeking my removal from the position of mayor. I respect this council's authority. I respect the town of Miami's rules and procedures. I've read them several times. I understand exactly what's in them. By law, I have the right to respond to the 2 affidavits entered. I'm asking that the rules we adopted be applied fairly, consistently, and as written. The issue before council is not whether individual council members agree with me, approve of my leadership style, or agree with the issues for which I have strongly advocated The question is if the allegations against me are supported by actual evidence. Establish one of the grounds for removal contained in section 3.9 of our rules and procedures. Before reaching the merits, I ask council to address the following threshold, point of entry, procedural issue. Section 3.9 requires sworn written affidavits. The copies furnished to me do not appear to, on their face, to contain oath, affirmation, notarial act, or declaration under penalty of perjury. I'm not excusing either of the council members, not accusing, I should say, either of the council members of perjury. I'm not doing that. I'm just talking about the law. So I'm asked whether the procedural prerequisite in the town's own rule was satisfied. Council determines that proceeding my way, proceeding may continue. I ask that each allegation be considered separately and based on evidence rather than opinions and characterizations. So I will respond to the two affidavits one from Councilman Medina and the second from Councilman Ryman. Response to Councilman Member Medina's affidavit. First item, section 3.9 in the Miami County Council Rules and Procedures book does not provide for removal of merely because another council member disagrees with the mayor's priorities or style. Reference page 8. However, Council Member Medina used the words obsessed, emotional, domineering to describe my conduct and alleged that I fan the flames of hatred among supporters. Those are serious characterizations, or are they merely personality descriptors? Yes, I was obsessed and strongly advocated for this strategic plan and for providing a new HVAC system for the police department the entire 2 years of my mayorship. It's really been 3 years, if you count the first one. Both areas require serious attention. Secondly, my obsession, advocacy for a strategic plan was met with resistance from the town manager and Councilman Medina. And Medina claimed strategy plans had been done in the past, but were never followed. So why do another one? That was a quote. He must have wondered then that the town of Miami, during my 2 years in office, failed to support the concept, discussion, or attendance of the strategic plan meeting. In fact, he insisted that it was not necessary until he got the money first. And seriously, but lo and behold, the Globe Miami Times newspaper August 26, 2026, Miami Town Manager Alexis Rivera proudly spoke about, guess what? The strategic plan with no money first. The hypocrisy of it all. Where does truth lay? Medina's most specific allegation concerns July 13, 2026. Regular Miami Town Meeting Council was considering a significant amendment to the town manager's employment contract, including a 5-year term and 6 months of base salary as required for severance pay if terminated without cause. Since this topic sprang up at the last minute on the final meeting agenda, the draft agenda did not include that. I had no idea it was coming. I asked for additional time to evaluate what council was wanting to quickly approve without further discussion. I asked to table it and got no support. By law, I had the right to speak even though I was being shouted at the top, shouted at to stop speaking because what I was saying was not on the agenda and I was breaking the law. I had no choice but to shout back, trying to explain that I did have the right as noted. And I'm about to show you. However, every time I tried to speak, I was continuously shouted over. I finally threw the towel, threw in the towel, so to speak, and moved on in the agenda. Arizona's meeting law permits discussion of matters appearing on the agenda and other matters related thereto. My position is that my comments concerning the town manager and whether council would approve or postpone his employment contract amendment were related to the other matter clause. Before council, according to this, I was following the law, nor was I being listened to. Was it? Someone believes otherwise. I asked that identify, I should say, exactly what I said. The point at which the comments allegedly became unrelated was the legal authority supporting that conclusion. Let it be known that I have received written approval that the other matter clause is legally appropriate for this case. I checked it out. I already knew, I had studied it, and I knew it was there. And I had a chance and an opportunity to use it for everybody's sake. At this point in my hearing response, or at the conclusion of this hearing, I asked each council member to separate personal disagreement from misconduct, opinion from evidence, and allegation from proof. If the evidence does not establish the proper ground, by now, or at the conclusion of this hearing, I ask each council member to separate personal disagreement from misconduct, opinion from evidence, and allegation from proof. If the evidence does not establish a proper ground for removal under section 3.9, I respectfully ask that the removal recess be denied. Get that for me, Carol. Moving on with the Councilman Medina, is the document provided to me as your affidavit, the document you submitted requesting my removal as mayor? Yes or no?
Clarify that, please.
Is the document provided to me as your affidavit, the document you submitted requesting my removal as mayor? Is that the document?
I can answer it this way. I'm not looking at your removal, I'm looking at your replacement.
It's yes or no answers, okay?
Okay, yes.
All right. Did you personally sign the document? Yes or no?
Yes.
Before submitting it, did you swear or affirm before anyone that the statements in it were true? Yes or no?
Who do I do that?
Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
Who administrated that oath? I guess there wasn't one.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. We'll move on to July 13, town meeting. Town manager contract. On July 13th, council was considering an amendment to town manager Alexis Rivera's employment agreement, as I mentioned earlier. That amendment proposed extending that agreement for 5 years. Correct?
Correct.
It also provided 6 months of base salary for severance pay if the manager was terminated without cause, correct?
I believe so.
I expressed concerns about approving that amendment and wanted additional table time to consider it, correct?
I believe so.
Your affidavit characterizes my comments concerning the town manager as an attack.
I still feel that way.
What exact statement did I make that you contend was improper? Don't answer that.
I'd like
You
to.
get the yes or no. What specific council rule or law did that statement violate? Don't answer that. What specific ground or removal under section 3.9 do you contend that statement satisfies? Are you aware that ARS 38-431.02H permits discussion of agenda items and other matters related thereto? The other matters must in some reasonable manner be related to an item specifically listed on the agenda, and that's in the law. What is your factual basis for saying that the statement was not related to council consideration of the town manager's employment agreement? Are you really stating that town manager's work performance was not related to the agenda item? Of course it was. Of course it was. Item 3, strategic plan and police department. Your affidavit describes my advocacy for a strategic plan and my concern about police department air conditioning as obsessive. Correct? What specific town rule did I violate by advocating for either matter? You also claim that council had 5 plans and didn't need a strategic plan. Is that correct?
Okay.
When we were talking about strategic plans, you said that the town council already had 5 plans.
5-year plan.
Okay. I find it odd that you would never mention them while participating during the workshop meeting.
Well, only I did.
I did.
I don't remember that one, because I would have. If you had a plan, I would have read it. I want to know the notes. Okay, we're not gonna talk. Yes or no? And in terms of comments regarding the police department's suggest you go back and read April 25th, 2026 agenda, item 9E document. I prepared and handed out to all the councilmen and read it to the public as well during the meeting. The 9E document in this packet, however, there are packets that you guys, if you want one, go ahead, give you one. The 9E document in this packet, however, I want to include the final paragraph located on the back page of this subject document. Quote, "It is obvious and easily understood that no angel investors, venture capitalists, developers, and private individuals would consider investing in the lawless town, and in terms of grants and pursuits, and any meaningful grant will be severely impacted in the lawless community." So we don't, I'll be digging into this a little deeper, there's been a lot more. And in terms of your comments about the chairs, that my wife and I bought for our police staff. The truth is that the chairs we replaced were very old and seriously a safety danger. I know because I nearly fell on my bahamas in one of them. We bought them because our town manager refused to. So after months, I don't know how many months, maybe it was a year or two, of our police staff request on one recent request of my own. We went up, Alexis, they asked for chairs. We said yes. Go down to my finance director, Perkisham. They would go down there, and I went down, and there was no money for that. Can't buy it. Which specific section 3.9 ground for removal does that conduct satisfy? Supporters and hatred. You accuse me of telling Mrs. Broder, to shut up, and did it again, and fanning the flames of hatred. What exact words spoken by me are you relying upon for that accusation? If you watch the July 13th video of our meeting and of the subject town meeting, you will find that I did not tell Ms. Broder to shut up. I simply told her we had moved on to the next agenda item. I wouldn't tell anybody to shut up. Thank you very much. And as previously stated above, if the conduct of members of the public is attributed to me, I ask for evidence that I directed, authorized, or controlled that conduct, because you don't have it. You also stated that I personally recruited financial experts for some overseeing of our town. Please read your copy of the Carol McManus letter that we got from town clerk. One today. Did you get it? Did you send one to the council? The one from, you don't remember?
It was in their box, yeah.
Yeah, good. I knew you did. I just want to make sure that you guys had it. Because that's what's happened. That is what we were doing. And read it. We weren't doing anything other than what, especially what you advocated. We clearly have no idea that you misstated I suggest you read that. Final question for Medina. Councilman Medina. Setting aside your opinions about personality, leadership, style, priorities, what is the single specific act you contend provides the strongest factual basis for removing me under the section 3.9? And which particular section 3.9 ground does it satisfy? Don't answer it. Don't have to. When did I say that? Is there a recording, a written record, who witnessed it? Such section 3.9 ground does it satisfy? Which, if you cannot identify a specific statement, then you cannot identify a specific statement supporting that accusation. Correct? All right, we're going to jump from Mr. Councilman Medina to Councilman Ryman. He alleges malfeasance, as he said, misfeasance, nonfeasance, open meeting law. Open meeting law violations, disregard of town attorney advice, refusal to hear contrary information, and harm to town funding. Those are serious allegations, serious terminology. However, it is not evidence. I ask that each allegation be tied to a specific date, meeting, act of omission, law, rule, evidence, and section 3.9 ground. A disagreement over policy is not fraud. Forceful advocacy is not corruption. A disagreement concerning meeting procedures is not automatically malfeasance. And an arguable procedural violation is not necessarily the gross violation required by section 3.9. I care deeply about the town manager, the town of Miami, and its citizens. Members of the council are entitled to disagree with me, vote against me, and criticize me. But removal under section 3.9 should be based entirely upon grounds contained in section 3.9 and evidence establishing those grounds. Is there a signed, notarized, or sworn version different from copy provided to me? Is there one? Is the document provided to me as your affidavit, the document you submitted?
I don't have a copy that you're looking at. You provide that to me and I'll answer your question.
Okay. Did you personally sign that document?
No, I transmitted it electronically.
Okay. Before submitting it, did you swear or affirm before anyone that the statements in it were true?
The procedure says,
Yes or no?
excuse me, sir, you're not a judge. You don't set the rules. The rules.
This is my time, this is my time, please. Honor,
I will
decorum,
answer your question.
decorum. You answer it by yes or no. Okay, is there a signed, notarized, or sworn version different from the copy provided to me? Is there? Do you know? Yes or no? No. All right. Item B, malfeasance, wrongful act. Misfeasance is lawful act done improperly, and the non-feasance is a required act not done. Your submission accuses me of malfeasance and non-feasance. Correct? Yes. What single specific act by me do you contend constitutes malfeasance? What law under 3.9 official duty did that act violate? What specific act do you contend constitutes misfeasance? What specific official duty did I fail to perform that you contend constitutes non-feasance? Questions for Ryman on open meeting law. You allege that I violated Arizona's open meeting law, identify the specific meeting and the agenda item that where you contend that occurred. What exact statement or action by me constituted that violation? What provisions of Arizona's open meeting law did that statement or action violate? Has any court, the Arizona Attorney General, or other authorized governmental authorities determined that this conduct violated the open meeting law? Of course not. You stated that I disregarded advice from town attorney. That specific advice, are you referring to? One important allegation concerns the July 13, 2026 meeting. Council was considering an amendment to town manager Alexis Rivera's employment agreement, including a 5-year term, as mentioned before, and a 6-month salary severance pay. I had concerns about approving that amendment and wanted additional time to evaluate that. I sought to table that matter. ARS 38-431.028 that I mentioned permits discussion of agenda matters and other matters related thereto. Understand that the language is construed narrowly. My position is that the comments I was attempting to make concerned the town manager and whether council should approve or postpone his employment agreement. If someone contends that I crossed that line, I ask that the exact statement be identified and that the legal basis be stated for concluding it was not reasonably related to item 9I in the agenda. Disagreement with me is not itself grounds for removal. I ask that the hearing focus on facts, evidence, and the specific requirements of section 3.9. What did I subsequently do that you contend violated that advice? What town rule section 3.9 ground that you conduct violate? Questions for Ryman refusing information. Councilman Ryman stated that I often refuse to hear reports, testimony, or information contrary to my viewpoint. Identify one specific occasion when that occurred. I'd like to see it. Identify one specific funding source that has been lost, reduced, denied, or placed in jeopardy because of my conduct. What meeting? Who was involved? What actually did I do? What rule required otherwise. That what event or evidence, I should say, supports that? Is that funding, communications, and writing? Has any funding actually been lost? Can you prove it? Ryman's final question for me: if everything contained in your submission, what is the single strongest specific act you contend justifies removing me as mayor, and which particular ground under section 3.9 was that act satisfied? Think about it. You don't have to answer. All right, I want to move a little forward here to my tongue is not as dry as it can get. Water. Okay, I'm gonna jump over to what I'm really here about. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'll just jump over to the gross section of that. Jump into, for time wise, jump into that. Town manager Alexis Rivera concerns. My concern. My purpose for requesting to table the agenda item. Town manager's contract. Rivera shall maintain, this is in his contract. Town manager Rivera shall maintain good communications with each member of the council with respect to the town business and shall provide the same information regarding town business to all council members. At a minimum, Rivera should provide monthly reports, which he does. Now, my concerns, concern one, Miami swimming pool that I talked about, and everybody got mad. I got mad when it happened. Miami swimming pool mistake the town manager made by deliberately ignoring warnings by the structural engineering firm's directive not to open the pool to the public until several new steel columns and beams were installed in the pump station. This was an absolute safety concern due to high-risk collapses of the existing highly corroded columns and beams. And he didn't listen to that. He opened the pool up before that steel was in place. Concern number two, the town manager, his intentional stalling of the HVAC installation for Miami Police Station for 3 years, causing near heat stroke and an impossible work environment for the police staff. He continuously lied about costs and status of RFPs. I recently caught him regarding false updates on the status of proposals. In fact, I found out by making 3 phone calls to one to APS and 2 to Guardian. They had not received any such RFPs. It was all lies, and when I told him about my phone calls, he immediately lost his temper, getting up, we were in his office, getting up, out of his seat, walking over to his already open office door. I'm sure a lot of the folks here that work on that bottom floor heard him screaming 3 times treating me, threatening me to leave the office, his office. I have never seen any such behavior in my entire industrial engineering and construction career. And I didn't leave. I stayed there in the seat and I waited for him to finish screaming. Then I asked him, if you're done, just sit down and finish the rest of the stuff you gotta do. And he did. But he lost his temper big time. Concern 3, lastly, regarding Miami police drama. Town manager said, if the police staff get mad and leave Miami, he would simply call the Heath County Sheriff to work with the town of Miami. He then showed me the money Miami would save. I looked at that and I told him, that won't never work. And that we need police law enforcement to protect the public. I then wrote a letter, and that's the one I was talking about earlier, in the packet, and council members, they have it. I explained what would happen in that letter if that, if that would occur. And that was on April 26th when I did all that. Fast forward to just a few weeks ago when I got yelled at. This was just unbelievable. I also took time to read it out to Miami citizens. I said that earlier, I'll say it again. That is not something that I want to do ever. Concern number 4, and about the chairs and why we bought them. Reference page 5 in this packet. You'll see it. I already told you why we bought them. Concern number 5, in terms of Councilman Medina's comments regarding financial experts that I brought in, please refer to Carol McMahon. And I mentioned that earlier. Okay, concern 6, town manager's employment contract, to confirm the fact that it included respect and working with the mayor and each council member. Town manager never complied with any of his duties per his employee contract with me, the mayor. In fact, it has been the opposite for the last 2 years. I would forgive him, but I'd give him a feeling great. Concern number 7, bragging on $14 million he has raised. But truth is, it was a grant for flood recovery and mitigation. Might have been a little more than 10 million out of that 14. And was less than half the grant compared to the neighbors on the east and the neighbors on the west. Those are the neighbors I've been asking repeatedly in our budget exercises for each fiscal year to hire the same people that go in the Superior or Union. And I told them how good those people were doing for them. They were getting into the 7 digits. And he didn't do it. Concern number 8, town manager was deliberately delayed the town's facade project going on 2 years. There's no credible reason for such a delay. No. Yeah, I flooded, we lost a few months. And doing so impacts our business opportunities, opportunity costs, I should say. During our last 2 fiscal year budget reviews and approvals, I have asked town manager to sign up with those lobbyists. I don't know why he does it. didn't tell him to do it, I asked him to do it. I said that because of something I heard earlier. Probably. Okay, we'll go to concern number 10. I asked town manager to add safety signs for the residential parking only during the construction of Inspiration School Building. That was completely ignored, even though he promised that the signs were in the warehouse and ready to install. I'm just glad that nobody got hurt in that scenario, at least so far. Concern number 11. Not long after the flood disaster hit Miami, I received a call from the mayor and Superior. She asked if Miami would be interested in joining an 8-town and city consortium. Given my experience with consortiums, yeah, they're private sector, but they're consortiums, I jumped at the chance to attend the meeting in Superior that included mayors and town managers. It was a very encouraging and productive session, including the Copper Corridor, engineering and construction company, etc. Of course, our town manager did not attend that meeting, although he did manage to play a video of the Miami flood damage near the end of that meeting. Those of us at the meeting all agreed to schedule another session in a few weeks. After a couple of weeks passed, I asked the town manager if he had heard any news on the schedule. His response was unbelievable. He made his own decision to notify Superior, tell them that the town of Miami was going to take care of its own flood damage grant receipts. I couldn't believe that town manager actually walked away from this opportunity. And for the other 8 town cities to make consortium, they were going to walk away from it too. That was a lot of opportunity cost that we could have competed with God. The government sees that many municipalities in a consortium, they're going to pay attention and get us what we need. Concern number 11. Town manager never wanted to hire a director of economic development. When he finally did hire one, he made sure she was not going to be able to succeed. That's the way it looked to me when I was working with her, with his person. And to this day, he still does not believe nor understand the value this position can bring to Miami. As hired to do that. Town manager maintains that he needs to get grant money before he moves forward with the strategic plan. That's totally backwards. But he refuses to believe at Miami's expense. Concern number 12, and it's the last one. There's more, but the last one is. Concern 12. TRSD comes to Miami to propose a partner agreement with the sewage treatment project that's down in Wheatfield. Town manager, this is what he told me. I asked him what happened. I asked for $4 million, they got up and left. And they haven't been back since then. Whatever happened to negotiating with common sense? Another opportunity cost lost. So, when you think about all that, who's doing what here? I don't think that we're doing anything that's gonna help this town to grow until we get together, like every other municipality, you know? Getting some workshops, understanding how best to approach things, and we have our town manager and his directors in that, and even some of their staff if they want. And we talk, and we discuss, and we come up with really good plans together. Is that against the law? I don't think not. I don't think not. Well, I had, you guys spoke for an hour, and I was gonna try to keep that, save half hour. I think I did. Anyway, I just want to say that I came here to help. I came here to bring Miami up in the best way that we can. And we can. If we all work together. I have 3 rebuttals from the council. So I thought I was done talking, so I left it there. Hey.
Sorry.
Council rebuttal. We can start from left to right to the left. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. That was an awful good story. Because we have our own story. We got mentioned in group. You don't want to speak?
What happened? I was busy. Yeah, please, be quiet. We need to hold that. Go ahead.
That's a perfect example of what I've been talking in the beginning. This kind of action. But anyway, everybody has a story. We have a process. Okay? So, in his own words, you heard him talk about, I told Alexis this, I told Alexis that, he didn't listen to me, giving Alexis direct orders. And then on top of that, I've been harping for the longest time, and I even tried to make it a visual point by sitting like this, showing the council that this is a council meeting, not a town hall meeting, which he keeps directing all the business out there when we should be discussing it. And I've really been to the point of being really upset at times. We'll sit here with business on the dais, on the table, and yes, we don't look at each other, we don't communicate, we don't discuss it, we don't argue. Back in the day, we did, but now, everybody just is quiet because it's being led one direction, right there. Okay, so that is my point. I would like to see, I got tons of leadership experience. I know about it. And I've been around a lot of leadership experience, okay? And all I'm saying is I'd like to see a change of leadership. I'm not saying take down the mayor, we hate him and all this. I'm saying that we need some good leadership. I don't want to embarrass Councilman Vice Mayor Gonzalez. But I've always admired the way he would run a meeting. He would make sure that we were together. Whenever there was action to be taken, we look at each and every one of us for an opinion or whatever. The mayor here, traditionally, you just raise your finger and he'll acknowledge you. We have to get to the point to yell sometimes, maybe his hearing, but anyway, Mayor, so I have to point out that so-and-so wants to speak, okay? I wish that the time that you took off, vacation or whatever, I wish that when Mayor, Vice Mayor Gonzalez took your place, I wish somehow you would have been able to see how a meeting is properly handled. That's all I'm saying. We need to go back to that, and if we need a class from Vice Mayor Gonzalez, let it be. Also, every time we have a new group up here, I don't know if some of our old council members remember, but they used to have an automatic team building meeting. You hire somebody and go through all the exercises for team building where you work together and understand how the process works. And I think that not so much us, or me, us here, but think about that when the new council comes on board, that you guys retreat for a team building meeting. The strategic meeting that you had, there was points there where, yes, that was very constructive. The lady that was holding it was team building, okay? And that should have continued. That, to me, that was a major part of the strategic meetings. But anyway, like I said, that's your story, we have ours, and that's all I got to say.
I'm gonna talk to you. Here's a good, very good understanding of your view of the world. Unfortunately, it's not a factual view. It's your understanding, and it's your lack of understanding that led me to file an affidavit. Did I file a sworn statement before a notary? No, nor does it require that in the rules. No, it's a sworn statement, not before a notary. Number two, get up and ask complex questions that require complex answers and demand a yes or no. That's some more of this staging crap that we've been saying from the audience here. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? And no opportunity to respond. I'm not playing that game. I stand by what I said in the affidavit. If you want dates, specific dates and phrases, they can be obtained because the and my basic thing is you have decided what the law in your mind says against the opinion of the attorneys we hired to tell us what the law is. You are not above the law. You're not entitled to that kind of judgment when the attorney stands up and says, you're out of bounds. Your answer is, yes, sir. I know you don't believe that, but therein lies the difference. And as far as specific funds that may or may not be lost, that's pretty speculative. I'm not going to name names, but there are people who have money, who have contacted us and said, what's going on? Why are you guys in such disarray? It's got to stop. I said that 2 years ago, it's got to stop. And because one party doesn't want to play your game, doesn't mean you give up trying to make that work. A bit of a different cutoff, but I stand by my affidavit. I think we need to do something. I think we need to do it now. If we go as far as to remove you, and I won't presume to give back is still there, but the town has done its part to police what is perceived by more than one person on the council, the purpose of the two affidavit rule, to be wrong. It's not a question of what do you think about the plan, it's not a question of what do you think about the manager, it's not a question about any of that, it's whether or not you did your job, which is to run the meetings and follow the open meeting law. That's
Only thing I have to say to you, Mayor, is since you've been the mayor, I had high hopes that we could get things done and do it in a manner that was respectful and not interrupting the meetings in such a way that I almost walked out a couple of times from the embarrassment and the rhetoric that was going on in this meeting, and you seem to condone that. Because there was never any reprimand for anybody in here that ever disrupted the meeting, and it seemed like it was getting worse and still getting worse. And I don't really want to say that, but it's true. And I just think that the whole town of Miami is against the council here. And it wasn't that way before you got here. That's all I got to say. And everyone in this room knows it's true.
A lot has been said here tonight. Things have been brought and put on the table. Errors have been made. And it impacts us all, whether or not it does so immediately, 5 minutes down the road, 6 months down the road. But this is, again, this is the type of attention that Miami doesn't deserve. This is not, it's not our best, and I know we can do that. I know I can do that. I'll speak for myself. I can do better than I need to. And this is, for me, this is hard. It's, you've never been here, you've never done this before. But I think we're to the point where formal charges have been filed. We just can't pretend that didn't happen. We can't. Sends the wrong message. Now, we have some options here that we can review and look at, but I think we have to do something. And then move on and move forward. And I do agree with Councilman Moog that these meetings used to be something to look forward to. Not so much anymore. People are bringing up some points and facts, and they're speaking their mind, which is fine. That's what these meetings are for. And that's what comes with sitting in these chairs. You take the good with the bad. I get that. But it seems to me we're really accentuating more of the negative than we are the positive. And there's a lot of positive going on around us that it just seems to me is slipping beyond our consciousness, where we focus on all this anger, angst, and finger pointing. And I would really just like to see us get through that. And maybe this process is a way to do it. Some councilmen said, well, we need to discuss things. Well, here we are. We're discussing. We're talking about it in front of God and everybody. So that's a good thing. So sometimes out of controversy, good things come. We learn things, we can correct things. But something needs to be done, and I don't know, what that might be at this moment in time, but I know we can't let this pass. We need to do something. We need to acknowledge this, not only for our stakeholders and for you, our citizens that we're here to serve, but just for our peers and our neighbors. So, thank you for listening to my thoughts. And again, I'll say it one more time, that this is, for me, this is not personal. This is a job, this is professional. If this man needs anything, up there, no questions asked. And I'll double down if anybody says anything against him. He's a good man, and I respect him for it. So, but again, it's not personal. So, thank you.
So Mayor, first took office, and you first took the mayor position, you had, support for the council, and you have support for the council, I believe, for the past maybe a year and a half. And, did we have a couple of months? Did you have a couple of months as with the whole council? July was probably the point on that, but, when you first started off until you got to that July, which, I can't fault you for your passion. Like, you have passion for this town, and you want to see things get done. And, it's obvious when you come up here and you're trying to get things done, and the frustration part, with the town manager, that's gonna happen, right? I mean, people just can't work together sometimes, and people have different visions, and, if it's not his vision, then maybe it may not be done, but it's your vision, if your vision might not get done, it's his, it might get done, so there might be a conflict that happens. You just gotta work through that, but like I said, just last month, after that big fiasco in July, you're declaring how you ran the diocese, what, the mayor, has, and have you missed some of the things and the squabbles going on out there? And you probably have, because of course you said, the hearing, maybe you can't hear and see to make that, councilman doing a speech and discreetly, there was some squabbles going on out there, you should hit the gavel, maybe you didn't hear it. But there's small things that you're learning, at this position, and, I'm still standing on my grounds that, we got 5 meetings left, 2.5 months, so that you can finish your term out, and then come November, when the new council comes in, let them have their say, the new 2 years of the mayor. And so, like I said, I've seen improvement, in the last month after that big fiasco. Like I said, you're learning, you're willing to, learn yourself, and how to do that business, as a mayor. So, that's my 2 cents on my rebuttal, and so I'm still standing where I am on that.
Okay. Can I ask the attorney a question? Joe, what's the next step? I don't see any real direction right here. What are the choices? There's a motion made for one of the options. Yes, council's decision, we heard, the council to decide, and that decision would be, if you were gonna make a motion, they would make a motion. Okay, so I can make a motion? Yes. Okay. I would like to move for the replacement of mayor, replacement. I don't want to take it down. We need leadership, in my opinion. Okay. Anybody second that? Second. All right. He's born.
No, there's only executive session if you need legal advice. You don't need to go into executive session if it's not requested. There's a motion and a second on the table, so the council needs to. You can either have comment or move to have a vote.
We gotta do it right here in front of the public. I don't agree with it. You guys, gotta give us an answer. If not, we will move.
There's my example. Your next step is to go to a vote.
Joe, so if I can interject, with this particular vote, do they have to do a roll call from town clerk?
There's no legal requirement for it, that would be best, because I would assume there's gonna be a mixed vote, so that way the record's clear, so that the clerk can determine whether it's passes as it is.
We have the first two already.
Mayor, that's for you to ask for a roll call for the vote.
Okay. How about a vote call, Karen? Can we do that?
Mayor Madrid,
I vote for me. Let's stay here.
That would be no. Yes or no, please.
Vice Mayor Gonzalez. Councilmember Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember Rowe, Councilmember Ryman, Councilmember Tosh is excused, Councilmember Stewart.
Aye.
Motion passes.
So when are we gonna pick the next mayor? Do it here, do it later.
Yes, so the motion passes, so as on the agenda, there's also the ability to take other authorized action, including possible selection of the mayor if the motion passes for removal, which it is, so that the council can now take action with regard to the appointment of the new mayor.
Another motion?
That would be another motion.
I made. The man on equipment figure two is known as the voice of Miami. Been on the radio many times, very eloquent. He's very familiar with how to run a meeting, and then it's gonna be different.
I can't serve as mayor. She's just trying to.
Alexis already been known as the mayor. Anyway, they moved that we made, Councilman Stewart, our new mayor, and it's only for, like they said, 5 weeks, then you can pick another mayor.
Councilman Medina? Thank you very much for that, but at this time, I will decline. I don't think that's in the town's best interest, but I would like to make a motion, to suggest.
Councilman Stewart, just have to wait to see if there's a second. I'm assuming there's not gonna be because you declined.
Right, thank you.
If no second, then the council may make another motion. So go ahead.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I would like to make a motion for, Councilman Michael Sosh to be the interim mayor.
Second. That was my other choice.
It doesn't have to be.
All those in favor?
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Chairman, did you get who the second was?
Councilmember Medina?
So if we could do another roll call vote.
Mayor Madrid?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
No.
And it's Councilmember Madrid.
Huh?
Councilmember Madrid.
Oh. Excuse me a minute. Vice Mayor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilmember Medina?
Aye.
Councilmember Moe?
Yes.
Councilmember Wyman?
Aye.
Councilmember Bosch is excused. Councilmember Stewart?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Councilmember Bosch is the appointed mayor, so we'll reach out and notify him of that. And then, so that takes care of all the business for tonight, so Vice Mayor Gonzalez, since you were the ranking officials, for you to call the adjournment if you want.
So we'll move on to item 5, adjournment. Do I have a motion? A motion made by Councilman Medina, second by Councilman Ryman. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passes 5-1. Adjournment.
You got one nay.
Thank you, gentlemen. I haven't signed anything today.